I'm Brandy Simison, and I am the founder of All Star Academy. My background is in child psychiatric rehabilitation. So I used to help children in the environments that they were struggling in to build better skills. If it was, emotion regulation skills, social skills, even basic living skills, so like executive function skills. And working with kids in the big traditional schools really gave me a desire to start my own school that would serve those children that did not fit in to the traditional mold. The heart and the why behind All Star Academy is for those students that really struggle to fit into the traditional classrooms. So, maybe they are neurodivergent, maybe they are gifted, maybe they, just are really sensitive to energy. And so they really struggle in the traditional classroom settings. And I just had such a heart for these children because they're such good kids, but then they were getting labeled as like bad kids in school because they weren't good at the traditional sit down, take the test. So it really made me have, strong desire to start a school that would support those children. Our school is unique and different. Basically in all angles. So starting with that we have small class sizes of only 8 students together. And then we have individualized academics and a full education plan for the student. So that includes social emotional goals and, just any other goals that really are helpful for the student to develop. Like maybe it's identity development, maybe it's more physical health, right? So those specific goals, we form education plans around specific goals for the child. And so we are completely different in that all of our students have an individual education plan. And then another thing that really sets us apart is our animals that we have that really help to create a warm, inviting environment. And then they also get to learn responsibility. It's great. They look forward to doing their morning chores. And then also the horseback riding that we have on site here, that is a huge confidence builder. And so, if a kiddo has, some identity things that they are working on, to gain that confidence, that is one thing that we absolutely can help with the horseback riding. Now, it's not for every student, but yeah, so those are some major things that set us apart. So we ensure that the culture is inclusive and welcoming by truly meeting each child where they're at. So we don't try to make them fit into, a certain mold or what's comfortable, for the teacher. We've had some students really need to be separated, away. They wanted to be separate away from the rest of the class, while they kind of acclimated to the environment, for example. So that's how we really are inclusive, is truly meeting that student where they're at and just taking one little step more. And it's amazing, the breakthroughs that you can have when you do truly meet the student where they're at and just focus on little steps of improvement. So, from the very beginning, we, sit down with the students and ask them, what are your interests? What do you like? It's part of our first parent-teacher conference. And so the kids get to join that and get to talk about, what their interests are. And so then we have a family questionnaire that we go through. And so then we can really get a full picture of what they're interested in. And then we can design the curriculum, because again, all the curriculum is designed to the student, where they're at with their goals. And so then we can design the curriculum to incorporate the things that they're really interested in. We also have student inquiry, as part of our curriculum. Is Friday, they get to choose what they learn about. So we get to plan it, it's all age appropriate, right? But they get to plan what they get to learn about on Friday so they can go deeper into subjects that they're really interested in. And it's especially helpful for our 5th and up, or 5th through 8th grade, where they get to really learn about something that they're truly interested in. Social emotional is built into everything that we do, right? So when you are in a group setting, you are practicing, social skills and emotion regulation, emotional skills as well. So we really just focus on coaching the child when things come up. And then we provide dedicated lessons. We have a specialist come in. She's a certified Adventures in Wisdom children's life coach, and she comes in and provides dedicated lessons. But also it's just having the smaller class size, being able to see the interactions that are happening, and then be able to provide that real-time coaching, to the child, as well as our two-way communication with the parents. So then we can tell them, hey, Johnny was talking with Charlie and this is what happened and this is what we reinforced. So then they can look out for that and then reinforce that. And they have that continuity of care that really makes a big difference. We very much incorporate parent feedback as well as just ongoing daily communication with parents here. We believe that the parents know their child the best, and so we really lean in on that. If there's some sort of behavior that we're truly puzzled with, we're this has never presented itself before, all of a sudden today this is happening, reaching out to the parents during that time and, talking with them, asking them, what they think may be happening with their child. So we have most of the teachers here just share their phone number with the parents, and they have ongoing text communication. And some things are just great, shooting little videos that we have at the park or here on site with our horseback riding, whatever it may be. So how we measure success here is growth within their individual education plan. So again, every child has different goals that they are working on. Now we still, of course, teach the core academics, but how we measure growth is by meeting certain goals that we decide on with the parents at the beginning of the school year. And then we continually, adjust. Quarterly, we have our parent-teacher conferences, and then we assess goals on a monthly basis as well. And so we are really tracking, how they're doing with their specific goals. If they have social emotional goals, we're really, tracking how they are, interacting with their peers, and so that the goals can shift and change as the child is growing and developing. So if a parent is, considering enrolling their child here, but they have questions and they're maybe concerned, about how their child is going to react to the change, we just have it be a very slow process. So they come in, they tour. That's what we always suggest first, is parents get to come in and have a tour with their child so they can kind of see the environment, and that happens after hours too, so that it's just seeing the environment, meeting the animals, and that makes it a really nice introduction to the school here. And then after the tour, we do trial days. So we start with one trial day, and then if we need more, then we can add more. How we get the word out about All-Star Academy is our parents are truly big advocates. They are our ambassadors, and they share about us online. We've also, put together really a wonderful flyers and whatnot that Peachjar can distribute around. And we also do, just your generic, your Facebook ads that really showcase how the child loves coming to school here. Because again, a lot of our kids, they really hated going to school before. It was such a battle for the parents, before school, to get them to school. And then when they enroll their child here, then the kid does not want to leave at the end of the day. So our teachers here are very adept at working with a child through what would be considered a misbehavior in class, where they disrupt the optimal learning environment. So here at All-Star Academy, we have a restorative correction school-wide discipline policy. And so what that is it teaches the teacher how to qualify the misbehavior into the one of four categories that it is. It's either misguided power, misguided attention, assumed inadequacy, or revenge. And so it teaches, we have all of our educators here very well trained within this restorative correction discipline policy, so they can figure out, what the misbehavior, the category that the misbehavior falls into. And then there's preventative techniques are our main, focus with it, as well as how to manage it in the moment. But the underlying reason behind a misbehavior is always that there is a unmet need that is happening. There's a belief that they have, and therefore then an unmet need. And so we really focus on that, the unmet need and the belief that is behind the misbehaviors, so that it can actually be addressed and it doesn't happen again in the future. So another thing that makes us unique is we go on monthly field trips. So we truly feel that experience-based learning, also known as experiential learning, is how a student truly learns. When they are involved in the process of learning, hands-on, able to make inquiries and get those inquiries answered, that is the true learning that sticks. And so part of our program here is we do monthly field trips. And so that is a way for us to apply our learning, really dive deeper into whatever it is that we are learning about. A good example of a monthly field trip is that we go to the salmon hatchery every year. And so the kids get to learn about like the salmon life cycle, and get to go and then see salmon in real time, watch them swim upstream, that whole process. So I have like 2 students that really come to mind as wonderful success stories. There's one girl who came to us out of 1st grade from public school, and she was really shy. She is a very shy person, and she was just like shut down at her big classroom at the public school that she came from, and just wouldn't talk, wouldn't open up. It took her a long time to be able to actually talk to the teacher, be able to even say, her name or anything. And now she is like very talkative. She loves show and tell. That's her favorite thing, is to bring something to show and present it in front of the class. She's gained so much confidence. So her parents can even take her, out into public now, and she will talk to a stranger that, like the waiter, for example. She'll even give her order to the waiter now, and she's been here for 3 years, and it's a really big turnaround. So we have another student who was severely misunderstood at his previous school. There's a big story with that, but long and the short of it is they misunderstood what he was talking about to be a very serious and dangerous situation, and it just is very circumstantial. But the teachers, when they have those big class sizes, it's hard for them to really get to know the student. I mean, you can imagine 30 kids in a class. How are you going to get to know your students really, really well? And so he was really severely judged at his previous school, and they thought that he was an extremely dangerous child. And, coming here, relationship building, truly getting to know that child, then he's able to be fun, be silly, and not feel like he's being constantly judged and, get shut down. And so watching him just be himself and be happy and like really want to come to school, because he did not want to go to school at his previous school. So how parents can get involved here, how they can, discover if this is the right environment for their child, is by scheduling a call with us. So on our website, allstaracademy.org, we have many buttons on there. You can click and get our calendar and then schedule a call with us. Because the first step is scheduling a call, and I personally speak with every parent that is considering enrolling in All-Star Academy. I really want to make sure that we, have the right families here. And so the parent gets to schedule a call with me, you get to schedule a call with me, and then after that is a tour. And like I mentioned earlier, the tours happen in the afternoon, so it's after, everyone's gone, to make it more that it's just an introduction to the environment and like I mentioned, like the animals. So the next step is the tour, and then after the tour, then if it's a good fit, we'll invite the child for a trial day. And they get to come for the entire day and, see how they like it. And then after that, we get to talk about enrollment. Yeah, so if you are considering All-Star Academy, please reach out to us. Please visit our website, allstaracademy.org, or give us a call, 425-526-4600, and we'd love to speak with you and see if All-Star Academy would be the right school for your child.
Well, let me tell you a little bit about myself and my children and our involvement with All Star. Originally, my kids went to public school, and I realized that the public schools just weren't meeting their needs, especially for my daughter. She's on the autism spectrum, and she was struggling in school with bullying and not being able to keep up with her peers. And so I definitely started looking around for alternatives that were in our neighborhood, that were close to where we lived. And I came across All Stars last summer, and my daughter came here for camps and just immediately fell in love with like the farm-based learning that is here. The staff are super engaging with the kids, always keeping them busy in new adventures and new activities and playing games. So one of the things that really appealed to me was just the hands-on that my daughter had with working with the staff, getting the smaller classrooms, smaller groups, and working with adults, also the animals. There's all kinds of animals here, from horses to guinea pigs to horned lizards to cats, and so she really enjoys being in that type of environment. She's very much an animal lover, so kind of it was almost a therapy of sorts to be here and be surrounded by animals. But then ultimately during the school year, I saw her blossom and thrive in the classroom that she was in with her teacher. Again, it was so small and she could get the individualized help that she couldn't otherwise get in a public school setting. Her uniqueness was celebrated rather than it being like a point of difference or anything. And she made monumental strides within the last year academically, and I credit it all to the way that the school is set up with the caliber of teachers that they bring in to teach the students, and just celebrate each child and kind of the beauty that they have and the light that they have within. I can speak to my daughter's kind of uniqueness or challenges. In the public school, she definitely was, set apart. She had to be pulled out of her classroom to where the individual support she got there, we never really saw strides in it. She was often isolated in the public school setting, whereas here, from day one, she was just kind of embraced with the staff and with the teachers. And if she was a little bit behind in reading, it was like no big deal. It wasn't called out. It just, again, they have so many like things in place and frameworks in place to where children really can come with their like authentic selves. They are met where they're at academically, emotionally, socially. The programs that they have with the different curriculums, not just the academic, but the social emotional learning, and they do yoga and they do taste testing of different foods. Like it definitely is just like a full 360 of meeting these and children and helping them develop, whereas school is so focused on academic, and all those other life skills I think that they need are not taught. And here it's just everyday practice at All Star. So again, I think she was very shy in public school. She's very like an extrovert here. She feels safe and loved and welcomed here at All Star. So she's just blossomed here in this really kind of contained, like smaller setting. I think Brandy is, I don't know when she sleeps, but she's definitely on call all the time. I think anytime anything's come up, whether it's just a general question about what are the kids gonna do tomorrow, to, enrollment for next year, or, oh, Deville had a bad day, like what can we do better tomorrow? She's just always available. There's a really strong network of parents that we see each other, during pickups and drop off. And so we're always talking to each other. There's Facebook groups, that we can get involved with. Oftentimes the kids celebrate birthdays and different holidays together. So we're, I think there's definitely the family community outside of All Star, which, sometimes in other settings isn't possible. And also because it is a smaller school, it's more like connected, and it's a really enriching, I think, parent involvement. She holds, we've had like kind of growth conversations of like parent development sessions where she has experts in different things, like helping us with like parent coaching and how to be better for our kids, and that's always helpful. You don't find that anywhere else. I actually was just searching on the internet, and I was searching for small school, like neurodiversity, all of those like keywords that I thought would describe my daughter. And it came, and of course location, it's near where I live. But yeah, I was just putting in keywords and it all popped up on All Star, and then with the tour that I saw, and Brandy's really great about opening her doors to come and like view the school, view what a typical day is like. One thing that was very appealing is when we first started, like you could have a trial day, like free of charge, come, have your kiddo enjoy the day, see what it's like. And again, I had never experienced that, those like open door policy where just like walk in anytime, see what's going on, have your kid experience it. And again, after that, it was like, I don't think I could have taken my daughter anywhere else. She was just totally 100% in love after she walked out of here. These kids that come here, in traditional schools, might be the outliers or tagged different, as different. But here again, they're celebrated, and I've just seen the most creative, funny, outgoing kids, and just the makeup of what Brandy has put together here. Again, they're celebrated for that. I mean, if they want to come in costume one day because that's what they're feeling like, that's who they are that day, like that's celebrated. They don't have to fit into like what the norm is. And I think in these days, that's so important for kids to be able to like kind of release that inner, their self and their light and who they are. And here they can do that. It's just really a place where you can be all your authentic self, and the teachers celebrate it, encourage it, love it. And so does Brandy. She's the biggest cheerleader and champion these kids have.
My son is an empath, which means that he's very in tuned to other people's energy, and he tends to take it on. And in public school, there's so much energy that he basically would shut down. He would try to come home because of a horrible stomach ache literally every day. And it just got to the point where it was too much for him, and we decided we had to find something else. My husband actually saw a flyer as he was driving in the window of a shop, and he was like, hey, I found this place, maybe we could send him to summer camp there. And when I looked it up, I was like, oh my gosh, he needs to go there all the time. This is exactly what we need. This year he's going into 8th grade, and this will be his 4th year at All Star. He came for 5th grade, and it took a little while for him to trust the teachers and the process of school after being in public school and having his like soul crushed there. But Brandy was very patient with him and supported him and went at his pace. And within a couple months, I mean, he was already thriving and asking for more work, wanting to show his skills, just happy. The animals too, the animals helped. Animals are a great source of emotional support, and so that was great for him. He basically lived with one of their lizards on his shoulder like all the time the first year. It was adorable. So that was a very important year because he learned to trust adults again. He learned to trust the school process of learning, that there's nothing wrong with him because he does things differently. The smaller class sizes were so beneficial because he wasn't taking on all of that energy. He no longer got stomach aches. He was so excited to go to school every day instead of, trying to tell us, oh, I can't, I don't feel good, and he really didn't. It was anxiety that was causing him to feel that way. But this school, we've just seen so much growth in him over the last 4 years. He's doing phenomenal academically. He's reading above grade level, whereas before he started, he was well below grade level. He's doing so well socially. He's still learning all the same lessons that you would learn socially in a big environment, but he's able to learn it in a small, safe environment, which I love. Because honestly, that was my biggest fear sending him to a small school, is that he would miss out on some of those social lessons that we need, to grow. And he's not missing out on anything. Like he's He's thriving, he's happy. It's mind-blowing. It was the best decision we ever made as a family. Emotionally, he's amazing. He doesn't like to talk about his feelings. He holds them in. And they have some great programs here at All Star where they work on mindfulness, and they work on being open and talking about your feelings and getting them out, and how that affects your body and making you very socially and emotionally aware. And so it's been amazing. It's been great. So Brandy has a ton of amazing animals. There's dogs, guinea pigs, rats. I believe they have another lizard. I haven't seen it yet. But the horses, the goats, the chickens. They even have a cat. My son desperately wanted a cat, and my older son is allergic to it. And so my son and another student made a PowerPoint presentation as one of their lessons in school as to why a cat would be beneficial for the school and what it does for your social, emotional, and responsibility, like well-being. And they did such a great job that they now have a cat. And so now he has a cat, it's just not at home. I can't say enough good things about this program. Honestly, it saved my child. He had such a horrible self-image in public school. He thought that something was wrong with him. He at one point told me he didn't want to live anymore. And this is a kid he's known as like the Disneyland kid because he's always freaking happy. And that was basically when I pulled him out. I was like, we're done. This is not working. But this has brought my son back. He can be him. He can be, authentically himself. And he's celebrated for that instead of like demoralized for that. It's just such a great environment. It's such a great environment. And I love that when he is having a tough day, he knows he can go talk to Brandy. He knows that she will help him with any issue that he has. If he needs some time out because he's overly stimulated, he can go, in her office and hang out with the cat until he's ready to come back out. He's not going to miss out on any work. He's not going to be like looked down upon. It's, let's get you through this and you're safe. And I love that. I love that. I love that I can leave him here and know that he's going to be in a safe place. I'll say as an adult, I love it because I love the animals, and I got to feed a baby goat a bottle. And it was like seriously bucket list item right there. It was like the best day of my life. And all the kids were so nice because they allowed me to do it. They weren't like, but I want to do it. They were like, go ahead, you can do it, because that's what she teaches the kids. She teaches them how to be good humans. She teaches them responsibility, how to care for the animals, how to be members of the household. Whether they choose to do it or not, she teaches them how. So yeah, I think that's really it. But I adore this place, and I will keep him here as long as I can.
I love the animals, and I think that's a fun idea for animals to be in a school, and I really like animals. At school, we have 1 rat, 1 guinea pig, 1 horse, 1 miniature horse, 2 fainting goats, and 1 cat.
Do the goats ever faint?
Only when Jericho chases them, I think. My favorite thing here is horseback riding. At summer, we horseback ride like once a week. I learned about horses one day, and science, and a lot of art projects. I feel good when the teachers care about me. Being a student here is really fun. When I grow up, I want to be a veterinarian, work at the animal shelter, and be an artist. All Stars Academy helps me get ready for my future.
When I first went into school, I was at Grand Ridge Elementary, and it wasn't the best place. They didn't teach me a lot of, I didn't really learn a bunch of things because the teachers were not the best. But then I went from 1st grade all the way up to 5th grade. And then I came here for 6th. That was my first year, and it was really great. I already boosted up, I was really struggling in math, so my math went way up, and it just kept going up since 6th and 7th. So yeah. All Star Academy has done a lot of good things for me academically, being more educated, and then with friends, because in public school there's a lot of people. So here I feel like I can just focus on my work and what I'm doing and not what all the other people are doing. And then just with like everything else, it's just such a fun place here. Some of the reasons that it's fun is definitely the animals. You would not expect to have animals at any other school besides All-Star Academy. So I feel like that just makes it 10 times better. And then the connections that you make with teachers, the principal, other kids, it's really a fun experience. Well, I would say the horses. I love horses. I wouldn't say grew up riding horses because I'm still growing up, but horses are a big part of my life. So definitely to have horses here make everything better. So I'm kind of the horse person that goes out when school did, we would have horseback rides for Friday. So I would help the little kids saddle and go around, do a little lap in the round pen. So I love the horses, ride them, and yeah. My role for the horses is feeding them in the morning. So that means Remy, the bigger horse, he gets some grain in the morning, and then they all get about like 2 hay bags. And then during lunch, go and ride them sometimes if it's nice weather. And then they just kind of get more food and eat and sleep. I loved my old teacher. His name was Mr. Jake. I thought he was great. I thought he helped me a whole bunch. So I don't really have a favorite class, I guess. It's just really just being here. I love coming here. I just think I feel so welcomed, so loved, very, the vibes are just really good here. I do think my thoughts, opinions matter here because I know that they're listening to me. Being a student at All-Star Academy is definitely more fun. I feel like back in public school it was just you would either have work online or just the same old do these problems. You don't get help with your teachers, and here you can if you're having a struggle, don't be afraid to ask. You can definitely go out to your teacher and they'll work you through it, and it's in a fun way. It's not just okay, if you go to your teacher, they'll be just do this, do this, do this. It's they'll actually break it down, and they'll break it down in a fun way, if that makes sense. Stuff that I am proud of from coming here, my academics. That was the biggest thing when I came here. I was really struggling. Also with friends, I was in a dark state with people. So here I definitely came out of my comfort zone. If I had to go back to myself in 6th grade, I would definitely say everything's okay. You can do this. I know it's tough right now, but in the long run, everything's gonna work out just how it is. If I had words to advice for another student attending a different school, I would definitely say, come here. You're gonna love it. If you feel scared there, but you're really, really scared to come to a new school, do it. It'll make you feel brand new, make you have basically family and have a whole new community, and you'll just be 10 times better. I already know it. When I grow up, I want to go to college. I want to be a large animal vet tech, and I also want to go in the rodeo program at college. So I want to work with large animals, equine. I definitely think the All-Star Academy has because I want to be a vet tech, it's definitely helped me that. And not just with having the animals, also saying because with vet tech you need to be really good at science and biology, so they're giving me that opportunity to get really deep into that and also having a good program for that.